Hello, good afternoon and welcome to our live session. It's yet another fresh live session on IELTS reading. I can see that a lot of you are watching me live, and that's great to have so many people on live session. Good afternoon from AJ Jacob. Then we have Naila Raj saying good afternoon. Ankita Krishna says good afternoon. We have Eco Uno saying good afternoon, and we have Lee Trung Son saying I'm from Vietnam. Oh, welcome to our live session. Ambika Krishnan says hi, Jijo says hi. Alright, so people are slowly seeping into our live session. I understand, this is the time for lunch for many of us who follow a very good diet pattern, and 1 to 2 is the lunch break, is the time to have food and to freshen ourselves for the next half of the day. So why not have something as interesting as IELTS tips and tricks to help you or to aid you in your test preparation? And what better time to learn by participating, by listening, by involving than having a lunch? So I have good afternoons from Joyce Elizabeth, from Eva and Jose, Brahma Prakash, Lakshmi. Great to see all of you. It's going to be yet another very exciting session on IELTS reading, and I'm looking forward to your responses. So before I start off with all the tricks that I can share with you to ease your IELTS reading test, let me first ask you, what are your main problems? What are the major issues that you have when it comes to IELTS reading? I'd love to listen to all of you. I'd love to know what your main issues are, what your constraints are, so that I can help you out in this 1-hour session to sort any of those problems. Alright, so we have Gokul Santosh, Parvati, Sumit, Rocky Rahan saying hello, good afternoon, Helma, Sri Lakshmi S. Nair. So that's wonderful. So my question to you, all of you out there is reading, IELTS reading really difficult? If yes, can you tell me what are your major areas of difficulty? What do you find difficult when it comes to IELTS reading? Yes, Anne Maria is joining, Anu Saji, PM Narayan Warrior, and Atra Sham, Parvati again, Parvati Sumit. Good afternoon, hi. Right, so do you find IELTS reading difficult? If yes, what aspect is very challenging? Now, some students tell me it is the kind of text that comes because it's highly unpredictable, and that's for sure, because you have no clue as to what the text will be. And you have to solve 3 different passages. So you're going to read, you're going to be exposed to 3 different topics. So yes, that could be a challenge. So I think, so Jessie Rachel says a very warm good afternoon to Sangeeta ma'am and to the whole family, Met City. Yes, thank you so much. Mesapogu Jyoti, hi. Shilpa Alphonse Joshi says hi. Sophia Linda says good afternoon. So guys, tell me, what are your problem areas when it comes to reading? Okay, so I can see Joyce Elizabeth on Facebook has shared saying difficult vocabulary is one thing that makes academic reading difficult. Jijo says yes, no, not given question. Alright. Yes, so tell me. So we have the opinions and comments coming up as to what area of IELTS reading is quite challenging. Like I was telling, some students tell me it is the kind of passage that comes because 3 different topics and you cannot predict these topics. So that could be a challenge. And like Joyce says, vocabulary, difficult words is another challenge. Excellent. Jijo says true, false, not given question type. So Jijo is focusing on a particular type of question that might become difficult for a student. Do I have anyone on YouTube responding at this point? YouTube viewers, do you find it difficult? Any part of reading that you feel is quite challenging? I guess you guys find reading really easy, which is great in that case. Yes, so words, because you're going to come across different passages on different topics. So you might come across words that you're not very familiar with. So yes, in this 1 hour session I'm going to tell you how you can deal a situation where you come across a difficult word. Alright, so I think I have Kannan Lamora on YouTube. So this is a comment that I have from YouTube, and the name is Kannan Lamora, and he says time management is the difficult aspect for him when it comes to reading. Great. Another of our YouTube commenters, Suchin S, has added saying, I have tough to find the paragraph headings, which means I think Suchin is finding it difficult when it comes to matching headings, which is a question type in IELTS reading. Like Dijo had shared earlier, saying true false not given question type is quite challenging for him. Now when it comes to switching, for him it is matching the headings. Alright, so anyone else finding difficulties when it comes to reading, and I would love to know what they are. What your major issues are, what your major problems are when it comes to solving IELTS reading. You can see a few of our viewers have already shared their areas of difficulty. Well, Thomas Peter says same. He says same on Facebook. So he's responded to difficulty in finding headings. Alright, that's great. So Abdul has responded on Facebook saying difficulty in finding the heading. Okay, so I think Pratima Simali has said no audio. Is there any difficulty? I guess Pratima, you need to try your connection, because I can see some of our viewers already responding, so probably they're able to listen. Alright, so Pratima, just check your internet connection and the setting of your phone or laptop that you're watching us live from. Okay, so yes, a few of them sharing their areas of difficulty. Some say it's question types, some say it's difficult words, and a lot more other things. So I'm going to show you what the major areas of difficulty are as commonly understood or shared. So let's see, I think I have another response on YouTube, and a viewer's name on YouTube is add in and says, I'm Sanjay from Kannur. I feel difficulty in reading. Please help. Definitely, Sanjay, please stay tuned to a complete 1 hour session of reading, and I'm sure you're going to have great takeaways at the end of the session, and I'm sure the session will help you find solutions to many of your problems. So if you can look on screen, I'd like to share the major obstacles that students most often say as when it comes to solving their IELTS reading. Alright, these are the areas where students find it most challenging. And the first tip that I'd like to share today on how you can improve your IELTS reading and get a perfect 9 band, which means all 40 right answers, is to identify your obstacle. You might have some problem, you might have some difficulties that you face in reading. So it's very important as tip one to identify what that difficult area is. Without identifying your problem area, you will never be able to improve on your reading skills. So on screen, I have listed around 8 major areas of difficulty, and I'd like you to go through these and tell me out of these how many matches your difficulty when it comes to reading. You can just mention the numbers. For instance, I think Joyce had mentioned difficult words, so that is number 2. The second point on screen says difficult words. So if you feel that you have problems with vocabulary, you can just mention number 2 in your comment. Or if you have a mix of these, let's say a difficulty in words and time management, so you can mention the numbers 2 and 6. I'd love to know what your difficult areas are, because the tips that I'm going to share today will be completely aligned to the areas of problems that you have. So please let me know out of the things that you can see on screen, how many of these pose as a stumbling block when it comes to preparing for the IELTS reading test. So I have given number 1 as slow reading pace, number 2 is difficult words, number 3 unaware of grammatical structures, number 4 says no schematic knowledge, 5 unfamiliar with the structure of the text, 6 is poor time management, 7 lack of practice, and 8 is no motivation. So do look at these obstacles, and it's time for you to identify what your problem area is, and do type out the numbers. Alright, I have Nibbi Babu on YouTube saying, hi, I'm Nibbi from Kollam. Matching tasks are a bit difficult. Are there any tips for matching heading questions? Of course, Nibbi. September 001 says, September Man 001. Oh, I identify September Man 001 on YouTube. I think you were there in our last couple of live sessions, which means you are a major viewer and follower. Thank you so much. So September Man's query is regarding time management. Raju Varghese says MCQ is the area of difficulty. And I think, September Man again has asked, is there any shortcut for scoring better score? While September Man, as always, the shortest way to get a good score is to practice as much as possible. So ensure that you take up a lot of practice materials and practice. But before you practice, tip number 1 that I'd like to share, that I'm sharing right now, is identify your obstacle. So do let me know what your major area of difficulty is. From that you can see on screen. Okay, let me say what slow reading pace is. Now, some of you find it so very difficult to read that you might not, you take a lot of time to read a passage. And if you take a lot of time to read passage 1, the same applies to passage 2 and 3, and you realize that in 1 hour's time, you're not able to read all the 3 passages plus complete all the 40 questions, which means you're very slow when it comes to reading. Number 2 is difficult words. Now you might find in the passages words that you are seeing for the first time. You have no idea what the word means, and then you're stuck because you're like thinking, how do I sort this? And number 3 is unaware of grammatical structures. Now, we have a lot of grammatical usages, and certain of these structures convey a particular meaning. Now, if you're unaware of this, you might again find it very difficult to understand the passage, and that might be a problem area. Now, schematic knowledge. Point number 4 says schematic knowledge. Now, schematic knowledge means if you don't have any prior idea on the topic. Let's say the topic is volcanoes, or the topic of your reading is about a cottage cheese. You have no idea about what cottage cheese is. You haven't read anything before, in which case you will find it challenging because a lot of ideas represented in the text and words used will be completely new. But let's say you have a topic like Jack Sparrow or actors or Hollywood. Now, if you're very familiar to a lot of Hollywood movies, you might find it really easy to read and understand. So lack of schematic knowledge could be a major problem area. I think at this point, Preeti Charles on Facebook has added number 5, which means her difficulty is unfamiliar with the structure of the text. Now, what do you mean by being unfamiliar with the structure of the text? Well, Preeti, don't worry. Let me tell you, structure of the text, basically means any passage given has a particular way of it being written. That is what you can expect in paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's imagine, telling a story. How do we tell a story? We start right from the beginning, right? So we start from the beginning and then we tell things in the order that it has happened, and then the conclusion, what happened finally. So this is what I mean by the structure. So depending on the topic of the passage, there would be certain structures that are followed. For instance, if the topic is about dreams and deciphering meanings from dreams, then what do you think the structure of the passage would be? It would be about different research findings or people's opinions on how you understand dreams that you have at night. And then it is very definite that you would have from the earliest findings to the latest findings about dreams. So that is what I mean by the structure of the text. So you need to have an idea of how the text is structured. Okay, so Preeti, don't worry. A structure simply means the order in which the ideas are presented, and typically it will be from the earliest to the newest. Or let's say it's about volcanoes, then you'll be talking about the earliest findings of volcanoes, and then probably the structure of a volcano as such, and probably about the most recent volcano eruptions or future eruptions. So you have a format or a structure in which the passage appears. Alright, so I think I have a comment on Facebook from Vamshi Babu. And Vamshi says, I'm Vamshi from Nalakonda. I have problem with speaking to the stranger. Now Vamshi, speaking problems can be sorted only if you build confidence. Now maybe you're a little worried about speaking to a stranger because you're not very confident in using the language. So Vamshi, it's very important that you identify what your major problem is when it comes to speaking. Alright, and do watch our live sessions, because one of these days we'll be coming up with an IELTS speaking session again, and you can join in that session. Sneha Thomas says, good afternoon. Did I miss anything, ma'am? I'm just joined the live now. Sneha, no problem. Chip in, join in and be there till the end of our session. You've missed a little bit, but that's fine. Okay, so I have another question, I think from okay, Fahad bin Rubayat says, hi, I'm from Bangladesh. Anaga Anil asks, is there any definite order in which we have to attend the passages? Well, Anaga, that's a brilliant question, and though there are 3 passages, I would definitely say do not follow a particular order or structure. I mean, the most wise decision would be to answer the questions in the same order. Otherwise, there are students who have this concept that passage 3 is always difficult, so leave passage 3 last. Okay, but it need not be the case every time. Sometimes there are tests where passage 1 is challenging, so we cannot reach to a conclusion saying always passage 3 is going to be difficult, so leave it for the last. No, so it's always I would say wise to solve the passages in the same order. So solve passage 1, and in passage 1 try and solve the questions in the same order. Do not change the order of the questions. Jibin says your sessions are extremely helpful. Thank you, Jibin. Gopika says hi. Helma, all right. I have Mehiz saying hi. Hi, Mehiz. Fahad bin Robayat says, ma'am, I try speak good English, but I didn't. No problem, Fahad. All you need to do is practice regularly speaking and ensure that you have access to somebody who will be able to help you practice your speaking with. So I think we have real active people on YouTube as well. So Alna Joseph says, is there any ideal time for completing each passage? Alright, Alna, I'll answer your question. Her question is regarding ideal time for completing each passage. Now we know in our reading test we have just 60 minutes and we have to solve 3 passages in those 60 minutes. Each passage will have a set of questions, and on the whole we have to solve 40 questions. If you look at passage 1, you have questions from 1 to 13 mostly, right? And passage 2, you have questions 14 to, I guess it's around 20, 26, 25. And then you have the remaining set of questions in passage 3. So how do you split your time, your 1 hour's time for these 3 passages? Now I tell you, there is no ideal or no perfect way of splitting time there. It completely depends on how good you are with reading, what are the skills you can apply, what are the strategies you're aware of. But I would say to start off, try assigning around maybe 15 to 20 minutes per passage. If you're able to solve the first passage in 15 minutes time and the second passage in 15 minutes time, it means you have a complete half an hour to solve passage 3. And you solve passage 3 in another 15 minutes time or 20 minutes time, and you still have 10 minutes remaining. And these 10 magical minutes is important for you to cross-check your answers. So Allah, that would be my suggestion to start off with, but find out, you can be a little lenient here and there. 15 to 20 minutes per passage should be good enough. Manjula Manju on YouTube says, good morning ma'am, I'm Manjula from Tamil Nadu. In reading, how can we find clue words from given paragraph? Excellent, Manjula. I'm going to answer that in this live session today. I'm going to talk about keywords. So how can you identify clue words from the paragraph? Shortly, I will be dealing with that. So thank you, Manjula, for staying tuned to a live session and for asking that question. Shobita Matthew says, are there any tips for true, false, not given question types? Of course, Shobita, we have a lot of techniques where we can use those strategies or methods to solve each of these question types. And we have again September man asking, how exactly can we attempt all the answers? Is there a pattern for answering? Is there negative marks? Well, I would say September man, there isn't negative marking when it comes to your reading, and that's a big advantage. So if you don't know, it's always advisable to guess the answer, but don't think that all 40 answers can be guessed. No, that will not work at all. Ashwati M on YouTube says, is it necessary to use capital letters? Will I lose marks if I don't use it? Well, Ashwati, using capital letters while writing your answers is completely your choice. Now, basically, the idea behind using capital letters is that it should be clear for the examiner as to what is written. Now, if they cannot read it, what answer you've written, they might mark it wrong. So that is why being legible is very important when it comes to IELTS. So if you feel you're somebody who has a very handwriting that is more or less like scribbling and it's very difficult to understand or read what you've written, I would advise that all of you with such bad handwriting, I wouldn't blame improving your handwriting is not an easy task. It's not something you can just do in 1 or 2 months time. It takes effort and time. So if you feel your handwriting is not really good, you can easily use block letters or capital letters while you write your answers on the reading sheets. But if you're somebody with good handwriting and you're very sure that the examiner will not find it confusing, I would say you can even write in running hand. That's fine. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Okay, so Subhajit is watching, Danya, Anya is watching, Akshara Vinay says good afternoon. Okay, I have a question on Facebook by Sahid. And again, Sahid is asking about, I try again and again about speaking English, but I can't. Okay, I think a lot of them are really, wondering on how to improve on your speaking skills. That is noted, dear viewers. And the next session, we'll try and make it regarding IELTS speaking, so that all of you can join again and, get tips and tricks to solve or sort your problems when it comes to IELTS speaking. Roshni Vinod says, true false not given questions are sometimes confusing. Any tips to sort that out? Well, yes. Okay, so let me show you tip number 2. Okay, tip number 2 on how you can generally improve on your reading skills is to work on your reading speed. So take this as something that really guide you. Avoid using fingers or pencils. How many of you use your fingertips or the tip of your pencil to read a passage? Using the tip of the pencil or finger means going through each word. Now, how many of you read that way? Now, if you're using your fingers to read or the tip of your pencil to read, let me tell you that you're going to lose a lot of your precious time. So do not use your fingertips. Do not use the tip of your pencil while you're reading. Okay? Anyone who's watching right now, do you use your fingertips when you read or the pencil as you're reading? Like you're going through the words one by one? Any of you do that? Well, if you do, it's high time you stop it, because let me tell you, that is a major reason why you're losing out on your marks. Because that will slow you down. Because you're going to go through every word there, which is not a requirement at all. Number 2 is avoid sub-vocalizing. Now, what is sub-vocalizing? Now, sub-vocalizing simply means reading in your head. Now, there are some students who look at the passage, but they are reading it loud in their heads. Like, this passage is about, so their lips are not moving, but they're reading, this passage is about the volcanoes and when it began. So if you're reading it aloud, sub-vocalizing it in your head, again, that's going to slow you down. So Sneha Thomas says no ma'am, which means she doesn't use her fingertips, which is excellent. My trick or technique here is to use your eyes. Now you have these beautiful eyes of yours, and let it be like, what is actually said is you need to play gymnastics with your eyes. So it's like your eye should move from one end of the text to the other. So just your exercise for the eye and nothing else. Use only your eyes for reading, and use sense groups. Now at this point you might be wondering, what is sense groups? Well, sense group simply means a group of words, okay, that will give a particular meaning. That's what sense group is all about. A group of words that will convey meaning. So instead of reading one word by the other, okay, so I think Mesapogo Jyoti has asked, sense groups mean, what does it mean? Well, no problem, Jyoti, I'll tell you what sense group is. Sense group is nothing else but a group of words that convey a particular meaning. Alright, so in a while I'll definitely show you what sense group is. Don't worry about that at all. I will be showing you shortly what sense group is. Like for instance, let's say, okay, so let's say I have a sentence like this. The president of South Africa claims that, or the government of South Africa claims that the president of Zambia has ignored the incidence of AIDS. The government of South Africa. Now that is a sense group. Sense group means the government of South Africa, it's a group of words but it conveys a meaning. Okay? The government of South Africa, next, has claimed that. So has claimed that is again a sense group. So instead of reading it as has claimed that, you need to look at those group of words. The president of the president of Zambia. President of Zambia is a person. It's not just Zambia. It's not just president. Only if you read it as president of Zambia would that meaning be conveyed, right? So that is what I mean by sense group, a group of words. So instead of reading it word by word, try to read in chunks. Okay. Thank you, Jyoti, for asking. That's my clarification to what sense group mean, and I hope that is clear to you as to how you should be reading. So working on your reading speed simply means avoid using your fingertips or pencils and avoid sub-vocalizing, reading it aloud. And I think at this point on YouTube also I have certain comments coming up. So Julain Mysurya says, having some difficulties in true false not given question time. Now Jayadev Vasudevan Nair on YouTube says, how can we eliminate wrong answers in a very simple way? Alright, great. Okay, so let me continue. So I think a lot of you also have difficulties in certain question types. Now we need to have a complete live session discussing on one question type each. Like true, false, match the headings seem to be the most difficult areas for students, major students that we have comments from. So definitely that is noted, and we'll have a session completely on yes, no, not given question types and even matching the heading question types. Alright, so I've already shared tip number 2, and that is working on your speed reading. Now, I think some of these, some students or some comments that I've got today was also asking on working on keywords or content words. Okay, so what are keywords? Now, many of your trainers or friends might tell you, identify the keywords in the question, identify the keywords in the answer options, identify the keywords in the paragraph. What are these keywords? Do you have any idea? Can you tell me what is your understanding of keywords? It is one of the favorite terms that most trainers use, and they just say, identify the keywords, underline the keywords, look for keywords. What are these? What do you understand from keywords? Any idea what keywords are? From your understanding, from your awareness, what do you think keywords are? So Abdul Manaf says nouns. Great. Rajendra Yadav asks about matching headings. Okay. So Abdul Wahab says noun is a keyword. Great. Of course, yes. Nouns, verbs, adjectives are keywords. Any word in the passage that carries most of the meaning. Information words are called as keywords or content words. Now you might be wondering at this point, now I think I have questions on how to solve matching questions, how to solve yes-no questions. how do you identify keywords, how to improve on your vocabulary. Well, at this point, I'd like to show you a very interesting book that we have created, and it's called as Ielts Maestro. Now, this book is a self-reference book. This can be used completely on your own if you're preparing for the IELTS test. It has all the 4 modules in detail: IELTS listening, IELTS reading, IELTS speaking, and writing. Now, because this live session is about IELTS reading, let me tell you, in the Ielts Maestro, we have strategies to solve each of these question types that you've asked. Yes, no, not given. What are the methods that can be used? True, false, not given question type, or matching the heading question types. How do I simplify it? All of it is mentioned in the reading section of the Ielts Maestro. You also have sample writing answers, questions, methods, format, structure for the writing, and you also have a complete section on IELTS speaking with sample answers, question bank, and methods to answer or structure your speaking answers. So this is a complete solution to your IELTS preparation. It's available on our website www.medcityinternationalacademy.com. You just need to click on shop and you'll get the book to your home delivered. And this book, Ielts Maestro, is also available on Flipkart and Amazon. So you can check out, the second edition is available right now on Amazon and Flipkart. You can purchase using these, or you can just walk into any of our 16 branches and purchase a copy completely on the same day. Alright, so back to our discussion on keywords. I think Abdul Manaf says nouns, and he adds nouns like year, date. Sneha Thomas says keywords mean a code, and Jessie Rachel says keywords mean descriptive words. That's right, all of you are so very right when it comes to keywords. I think on YouTube we have Amrata VN saying hint. The hints that are given are keywords. Yes, Neha says it means a code. Words that carry meaning, complete meaning, are called as keywords. Now, if you can look at this particular screen that I have that I've shared, can you tell me what the keywords are? Now, you told me these are nouns, these could be verbs, these could be adjectives, year, date, words in block letters, maybe italics, underlined words. Words that are descriptive, you told me it is hint, meaning a code. So can you identify what are the keywords in this short paragraph, 2 sentences that you can see? And it says, a lot of our research. Okay, is it visible? Yeah, I think it's visible. So you can see our passage that says a lot of research has shown that overeating can have a number of negative effects on the body. Some people therefore believe that the advertising of certain foods should be banned in the same way that some countries have banned advertising cigarettes. So, can you tell me what are the key words that you can identify? Rajendra Yadav has asked, can you send me the website again? Yes, Rajendra, I've added the website. It is medcityinternationalacademy.com, www.medcityinternationalacademy.com. I hope, Rajendra Yadav, that helps you in buying the book. The question that you can see on screen is, tell me what the key words are that you can identify from the 2 sentences that I've shown on screen. Manjula says some word mentioned as lesser time or greater than this one, like this. Okay. Research. Okay. MHT on YouTube says research is a key word. Is it just research? Is it just research as a key word? Helen Thompson says research, overeating, negative effects. On YouTube, Helen Thompson on YouTube says research, overeating, negative effects are the keywords. What do people on Facebook tell me at this point? What are the keywords? So Sneha Thomas says research, overeating, negative effects, advertising, certain foods, banned, cigarettes. Abdul Manaf says advertising, food, country, cigarettes. Okay, so this is Rajendra Yadav. Shamlal has shared the link to our website. You can just click onto that and get onto shop to purchase Ielts Maestro. Sophia Linda D'Souza says research, overeating, advertising and foods. Okay. Yamang Palden says overeating, food, banned are the keywords. Great. Now remember, when we say keywords, do not focus only on one particular word. It could be a group of words that can be identified as keywords. Alfie Sumish says negative effects and advertising. So what is the main idea here? It says about, of course, research. Sorry, it says about research, of course. Okay, so there's the saying about research, which is a keyword. Okay, it speaks about overeating, of course, and about negative effects. But what is the main focus here? Advertising of foods should be banned. That is the main area. Advertising of certain foods should be banned. And why? Just like banned advertising cigarettes. Just like cigarettes ad have been banned, advertising on certain foods should be banned. That's the key idea here. Is it just about any overeating? No. So Ravi John says keywords are words that carry specific information. On Facebook, of course, and these words will help a reader or candidate identify the context. In return, it helps find the correct answer. Overeating. Yeah, it's of course this passage or the small paragraph that you can see is about overeating, of course, yes, but you can also see that the main focus, they've spoken about research showing about overeating and the negative effects, but the main idea here is about advertising of certain foods should be banned. That's interesting. Okay, so keywords, like many of you have responded, wonderful answers coming up as to what keywords are. It's great that all of you have identified or have a clear idea of what keywords are and how you can use them when it comes to reading. But of course, words that carry meaning are definitely keywords. And when you think of keywords, do not just focus on a single word as such, but focus on, words, a group of words or certain words here and there that carry meaning and that gives you an overall idea of what that particular paragraph is. That is what we mean by keywords. Words that carry meaning. I hope that's clear. Okay, now for preparing for your IELTS, I'd also like to give you, in addition to Ielts Maestro, I'd like to talk to you about our app, which is called City Ielts App. Now, Rajendra Yadav, if you're preparing for IELTS right now, this is a wonderful app that will help you in preparing completely on your own. This app is available for free download, and with free download you have access to certain number of videos and practice materials, of course. But if you just make a payment of $5.99, you can access for 1 full year. Isn't that wonderful? And you have over 50 hours of video lessons on all the 4 modules like listening, reading, writing. and speaking. And you have sample speaking videos with feedback, so you can watch these speaking videos and understand how you need to actually answer a real IELTS speaking test. You also have all of these strategies that you're looking forward to, like how to solve yes no not given question type, how to solve matching the heading question type. Everything is given as separate video lessons in this app. So it's a wonderful app for you to download. It's available on of course as Android and the iOS version, on Play Store and App Store. It's called City Ielts App. Go check out the app and download it and use it right away, and I'm sure it's going to be highly helpful. Great. Hope you all enjoy using the app, and if any of our users or viewers right now are our app users, do also take time out to let me know how you found the app. We've taken a lot of work and struggle to actually create this app, ensuring that it is completely useful for students. So I hope it's benefiting all of you. Alright, great. So continuing with our reading session, I have one more tip to share. Before we finish our sessions, I have one more major tip to share, and that is something that will really help all of you. It's about guessing the meaning of words. Now, many of you have spoken about difficult words, tough vocabulary, how to read if there are words that I don't understand. So this is the trick that you can use. I'm going to share with you on how you can try and guess the meaning of a word. Do you have any ideas on how you can guess the meaning of a word? Anyone? Any idea? If no, don't worry. I'm going to share, I'm going to show you, and together we're going to try and guess the meaning of a word so that you'll understand how you can use this method to identify any difficult word that you come across in your IELTS reading passage. Well, the tip I've given you here is take the help of neighbors. Now, don't get me wrong when I say take the help of neighbors. It doesn't mean, somebody sitting next to you in the exam hall and you peep into that person's paper, or if you're in the classroom, you ask your classmate, your benchmate. No, that's not what I mean by taking the help of neighbors. What I mean at this point is look around that word. Now, you have a difficult word. You need to look around those words and try and guess the meaning of the word. Now, what could these neighbors be? These neighbors could be adjectives, it could be verbs, it could be nouns, it could be, let's say, it could even be synonyms or antonyms or even articles. Okay, so you have these neighboring words around the main word that you find difficulty in. And I'm asking you to take the help of neighbors and identify the meaning. Have you understood? Shall we try it out? How many of you find it very difficult when it comes to finding difficult words in your reading? I'm sure that I think initially Joyce Elizabeth had shared saying it's difficult when you have difficult words, which is totally understandable and relatable. But now I'm going to show you how you can guess the meaning if you're not very much aware of that word. Let's try that. Are you all ready? I know it's lunchtime. I hope you've all almost done with your lunch and you're eagerly waiting for the session, the remaining half of the session. Alright, so let's try and guess a word. Okay, let's try and use this tip, which is using the help or taking the help of neighbors in trying to guess the meaning. So Sharo Joseph on YouTube has asked a question. Neighboring sentences? Question mark. So probably he means you're talking about neighboring sentences. It could be neighboring sentences, it could be neighboring words. Chandan TC on YouTube says yes, which I mean that Chandan is probably finding it difficult to guess the meaning of words. Vikram Naidu says, I feel the answers are not direct, we have to think about the text. Now that is Vikram Naidu's difficulty. Alright, these are comments that have come up on our YouTube channel. So I'm going to try together. Let's try and guess the meaning. So let's play a game of guessing. Okay, the word that you can see on screen is beguile. You can see a word there and says beguile. Now maybe there are some of you who find this word really easy, or you know the meaning, but a majority, I'm sure, would find it really challenging. You're like, what is beguile? Right? So let's find out how you can guess this. I told you, take the help of neighbors. It could be neighboring words. It could be neighboring sentences. So, any idea what beguile means? Any idea, anyone, what beguile means? Well, be honest, don't check out on Google yet, because we're playing a game of guessing. I'm going to show you how you can use this trick when it comes to IELTS reading. If at all you feel you're stuck with a difficult word, this is what you should be doing. This will help you in your IELTS reading test. It'll help you get a high band score. You can get a full 9, because no more will a difficult word hinder you or stop you when it comes to reading a passage. This is a trick you can apply. It says, taking the help of neighbors, guessing the meaning of the word. So we're going to try and guess the meaning of the word beguile. Okay, I hope you're all ready. I'm going to show you my next sentence, and I want you to tell me what do you think the meaning is. The sentence is, he beguiled the voters with his good looks. Now, I want all of you to try and guess the meaning. What do you think beguile means? Look at the sentence. He beguiled the voters with his good looks. Can you guess the answer? Can you tell me what the meaning is? Without looking at a dictionary, without looking at the Google search engine, try guessing, looking at the sentence. He beguiled the voters with his good looks. Now, Abdul Manaf says cheating someone. So he's guessing that the meaning of beguiled could be cheating someone. But it says with his good looks. So it has to be a positive word. He's used his good looks. So we are guessing that it is a positive word. So Sharu Abraham says persuaded. Alina Joshi says attracted. Okay. Mohit Kumar says begging. Okay. Interesting. Now you're getting on track. Now you're learning how to guess. And it's so interesting to find. Okay, Sneha Thomas says attract. Jyoti says divert. Sharu Abraham adds saying convinced. Sheena Matai Salu says surprised. Jamyang Palden says impress. Ravi John says captivate. Jessie Rachel says impress. Excellent. So now we are getting on track. Now I can see that all of you are using your the neighbors in the sentence to try and guess the meaning of a word that you're not really sure of. Now on YouTube, Borsh Schkef has said deceived. Now let me tell you Borsh again. We're guessing that it could be a positive word because it says he beguiled the voters with his good looks. Okay, so that is why we're getting so many responses saying impress, surprise, captivated, convinced, influenced. So Brintal Divya says influence the voters. Great responses coming in. Persuaded, attracted, nice. So he beguiled the voters with his good looks. So we don't know the word beguile, but we're guessing using the words around it. So we're taking the help of neighboring words like voters, good looks, and we're guessing it's a positive word. And we have superb responses coming in. That's nice. It's great. Yes. Influenced. Yeah. Brinto Divya says influenced. I think quite a few responses are coming up also on YouTube. Great. So what does it actually mean? Any more responses before we divulge what the meaning is? Amrit Tapa on YouTube says charm. Amrita VN on YouTube says impress. Lenona on YouTube says attract. Great. Somebody says talk to me. Oh, what happened? Is it really difficult to follow the live session? Sure, you're always free to quit the live session if you don't find it really interesting. Okay, thank you for being there. Ravi John says attracted. Yeah, captivated, attracted. Excellent. So this is how you need to use the help of your neighbors to guess the meaning of the word. So don't be stuck. And I must say, all of these answers are right. It means to charm, to attract. Okay, with his good look. So that's where you have to. Now, why did some of you say deceived? Why did some of you feel cheated? Because beguile the voters. So you thought it is a negative word, but it says with his good looks. So that's where I give you a hint saying it ought to be a positive word. And then you change, saying, okay, the meaning could be attracted, it could be impressed, it could be charm, it could be influenced. And all of these words are the meaning of the word beguile. So see how easy it is to guess the meaning of a word if at all you come across any difficult words in your IELTS reading. So do not worry about being stuck there and thinking, oh no, I have no idea what beguile is, how do I solve the passage? No, don't worry, because all you need to do is guess, and you can guess the meaning of these words simply by using the help of neighbors. Okay, so this is tip number 4. I think some of you had asked, said initially that one of the biggest challenges you face when it comes to IELTS reading are the difficult words. So Sneha Thomas has rephrased the sentence saying, he attracted the voters with his good looks. Excellent, Sneha. Thank you for doing that. That's a wonderful step to help the others understand, how you can guess around the word. So henceforth, from today onwards, none of these difficult words should stop you or should hinder the speed of your reading. Let go of these difficult words. Guess the meaning, okay, and move ahead. Don't be stuck just because of a difficult word. And take me seriously, guys. If you try and practice this regularly, you will master this so well that after a point, any difficult word you see will never be a problem. And you will still understand the meaning without knowing the exact meaning of the word. You can still guess what it means. So this, I would say, is by far the most useful tip that I'd like to share when it comes to IELTS reading. Okay, I hope these things are clear and you have an idea of how you can use the neighbors to help you in guessing the answer. Moving on to the next tip, which is tip number 5, is rubrics. So make sure that you always know the question type and the instructions for each of these question types. It's not the same for every question. Like for some questions you need to write your answer in 1 word, for some you need to write in 2 words, or for the others you need to write in 3 words. So make sure you're very clear with the instructions. Make sure you have very clear idea of whether you should be writing the letter given. Like in case of a multiple choice question, you have to write the alphabet given against each of the option as your right answer and not the entire option. So make sure you're very clear with the rubrics. You have an idea of what to answer, the question type. Like some of you have asked me, how do I solve a yes, no, not given question type? Is there any strategy for a true, false not given, matching the heading. Of course there are strategies. There are methods that you can use to solve each of these question types. And if you know the rubrics, if you know the instructions, if you know the method that you can use, it becomes so very easy to solve your IELTS reading. Now at this point you might be wondering, so what are the techniques? What are the strategies? Well, I did show you our IELTS app, which is City Ielts App. If you download the app, you have all the strategy lessons available for each of these question types that you've asked about. How to solve a matching the heading, how to solve a yes, no, not given question type, how to manage time, what order to follow. Everything is given in the IELTS app. So make sure you download City Ielts App, which is available on Android and iOS versions. So you can use it on your phones and make sure that you know how to solve each of these question types. Revati Revus has answered as entertained. So probably she's trying to guess the meaning of the word. And yes, entertained is acceptable, Revati. You've clearly guessed the meaning. Well, so these are the top tips that will definitely help you when it comes to your IELTS reading. So all you need to do is ensure that you follow each of these techniques that I've shared for today. That is how you can increase the speed of your reading, avoiding your fingertips, avoiding the usage of pencils, avoiding sub-vocalizing, and instead using sense groups. So that's how you can increase the speed of your reading. Plus, if at all you have any difficulty regarding words that you do not understand, all you need to do is take the help of the neighbors. Look around the word, look at a neighboring sentence, look at the words with the same sentence, guess the meaning, move ahead. So these are the major tips that I'd like to share for today, definitely. And for those of you who've asked about how to solve each of these question types, I would definitely say the technique here is to ensure that you know the rubric well, you know the instruction, you know the strategy to solve each of these question types. Let's say, for instance, a true-false question type. 99% of the cases, the answers come in the same order. So if you have 5 questions for true-false, if question number 1 is in paragraph 1, the answer to question number 2 will either be in the remaining half of paragraph 1 or paragraph 2. So in 99% of the cases, the answers for questions like yes, no, not given, true, false, not given comes in the same order. Now that is a technique. That is a trick that you can apply because you can easily identify where you need to look for the answer. Okay, so definitely that's a plus point. Now for matching the headings, these will never come in the order because that is exactly what you need to do. You need to match from a jumbled order of headings. So you need to understand which questions can you predict the answers in the order, or can you expect the answers to be in the order. For which questions you might not have the answers in the order. So it's very, very important that you know the rubric and the instructions. So for all the tips and strategies, of course, for detailed understanding of the strategies, the best technique is to use our IELTS app, or if you're somebody who loves learning using textbooks, Ielts Maestro will definitely come to your aid. I would say both of these will be a deadly combination. So use our Ielts Maestro plus City Ielts app and you can ace the IELTS test in your first attempt itself. So it was a wonderful 1-hour session. Thank you to everyone who has participated, who've made the session lively, sending in your responses, letting me know what are the areas you find difficulty in, but I hope at the end of the session you've gotten certain tips that will help you in building your confidence and skill in IELTS reading. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to meeting you again next week. Thank you.